Here we are. Best of 5. This is going to be in the bottom left side. The red Brodels player fighting for the Dragon Phoenix Gamers now. He is ZEST. Still says raise your edge here, but I'm fairly certain he is Dragon Phoenix Gaming now. From the Afrika Freaks, the blue Brodels. Stats. Okay. I mean, if you want to have a PvP, I think this is the PvP you kind of want to have. Especially amongst the Korean caliber, of course. Stats, the player that is known for his overall passive play. He likes to play the macro. He likes to go the long haul. Defensive man. The Shield of Fire is what they call him, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have ZEST. ZEST kind of... well, very aggressive player overall, likes to do the macro, of course. He's known for the ZEST bank that he does have sometimes, right? Because he is so busy across the map just doing things. Both of these players have an enormous amount of respect for one another, though, of course. Yeah, so I think this is a great matchup overall to kind of see as the PvP goes, you know. This is pretty darn cool one. Both sticking to the script so far. The script being, of course, the double gateway with the Cybercore. There's the Zealots coming out for stats here. That is a little bit uncommon. Both of them did manage to block each other's nexus with a pylon, delaying the expansion here. It's also important to do, because otherwise one player would, of course, just be able to get an advantage going like that. Ooh, and even another follow-up here for another block. Cybernetics core gets made. I'm not entirely certain how many probes with that Zealot you need on top of this to hold this up for even longer, but a bit more of an investment. 150 minerals, of course. Is that going to pay off here? Is he now going to have that Nexus earlier himself? I think he will. Yeah, I think so. Fairly certain he will. He might cancel it as well, that is the thing. Right? Okay, he cancels it. Kinda. Alright, that's okay. That's pretty cool, actually. He cancelled it, so then after the cancel he would have enough money to make the Nexus. And that is causing this game to go up kind of equally here, right? So he forced it to kind of go up equally. Pretty cool. Says still ahead in 3 workers here, though. So those minerals had to come from somewhere. And apparently they came from not producing as many probes as quickly. Sticking around the regular mark that you need for the one base kind of economy here, I suppose. Hallucinated Phoenix. Feel like we should see a lot of those today. Well, coming up for a little bit here. Twilight Council now for ZEST. There's the Blink. Same for stats though, of course. Also going for the Blink upgrade here. Very eerily similar stuff going on. Would have liked it if one of them made an Oracle, hallucinated Oracle. Just, you know, just so they have a little bit of flair. I think the Oracles may have a little bit of less HP, perhaps? Is that true, what I'm saying? I'm not sure. The depth's being blocked. Should cancel. Oh, stats. What are you doing? Oh, stats. Oh, boy. Not sure what he was expecting that was going to happen there. Maybe not anticipating a Stalker to be also in the wall. Couldn't see the shield battery there, of course, with the shades only having 1 centimeter worth of vision. Maybe that was just very well overall army placements from ZEST. Keeping stats in the dark, because that had to be a cancel, right? You shouldn't have any much more important things to do. At least it didn't look like he had much else going on at the time. Now, he is going to have much else going on in a moment here, it seems. ZEST already starting to move the Stalkers with a bunch of sentries here over across the map. There are no shield batteries available for stats anywhere. That could be problematic, as well as that War Prism, of course, together with those sentries might cause quite a bit of difficulties here for the entirety of Stats' army to participate in the battle. ZEST will be able to just kind of dictate where it's going to happen and how it's going to happen, or Stats is just going to have to say goodbye to his third base. That's kind of the story right now that we're seeing. Stats having a really rough time getting through here. Does manage to get a couple of units past. There we go. The fight does manage to happen. The Nexus still goes down, and it looks like the fight might still go into ZEST's favor as well anyway. And Immortal does come up for Stats. That's a big deal, but ZEST most likely will just back out here. He does have the blink. Did have the +1 weapons upgrade a bit earlier also, making that making how that fight went into his favor seem a little bit more logical. A couple more units trying to be picked off here by Stats. He's really gunning for it. I'm not sure if he has the strength to do so. One Immortal is great, but I mean, the Immortal's not going to catch up to the Stalkers. Stalkers purposely moving away from the Immortal right now, until ZEST has his own Immortals. Fight fire with fire. Especially if that fire has a less amount of nexuses, right? So, less overall income. It's getting less money and minerals. Already going up for the Robo Bay here for Stats as well. Making another Robo facility. Adding in for double disruptor production, I would imagine, is what we're getting here. Observer for ZEST is going to get called out, but not before seeing all the Stalkers here, of course. Quite an army available for ZEST. Do not want to mess with that just quite yet. The disruptors are a necessity here for Stats. Needs to have at least two. Two are on the way. They are coming along, but it's still going to take them a little while here before they are fully set up and ready to go. ZEST setting up shop as well. It's 2 Immortals here versus how many? Well, 2 on the other side is also. Single disruptor on either flank. Blink away should be pretty good. There we go. That's just a massive carnage right now. The other disruptor in no place to kind of punish the Stalkers as they do not have to blink. It comes in here, gets a little bit of value, but there's no amount of value that is necessary here. GG is called. Stats loses game number 1. It's good to see though overall. Stats sticking true to his colours, going up to the disruptors, trying to get into that later game. ZEST there, more committed to the early aggression, getting himself into the fight, into the midst, and finding himself that early victory right there. Early advantage overall across the boards, going for him after just being able to get a good couple of fights. Alright, gonna set up, of course, the next game. Whew. Man, these guys, you can feel it though, right? There's quite a lot of overall tension between them. Very high respect for both of them. And you can feel that they, well, the both of them also really respect one another quite heavily. You don't really see overcommitments. You don't see weird blinks into one another when it's not quite obvious that you have the numbers. And yeah, continuous scouting as well, of course. Another one of those things that people might go lazy on when they feel like, you know what, I'm much better than this guy. Should be able to cruise on through. But yeah, not here, not this time. Not between these two. In the top left side, we got ourselves a blue Brodos player. Fighting for the Dragon Phoenix Gamers now. He is ZEST. Bottom right side, his opponent. He's red, he's a Brodos from the Afrika Freaks. Stats. Okay. Wonder if we're gonna see any of these players well, yeah, either of these players go for a Nexus expand kind of thing. Right, maybe not Nexus first, but just off of the one gate or something like that. You know, we see some of the Taiwanese players do it sometimes. They get away with it as well versus even the high-tier Koreans. But so far, we haven't seen that many other people master the technique just quite yet. Does seem to be some refined cutting out production of probes as well to be combined with it. Almost so much, up to the extent that if you were to just make a Nexus yourself and start producing probes, you would actually be ahead, but are you willing to make that bet, you know? Quite an early Nexus, actually. Stats, look at that, he's going for it. Talking about it on the other side, looking at the wrong guy here. He's actually going for it. A little bit of a proxy pylon for ZEST. Could be a Stargate, perhaps. Could be a Dark Shrine. Could be that he just likes to hide his pylon here. In case, you know, Stats, because he's clearly in his space, is trying to figure out what's going on. He's trying to see if there's a second pylon. Cannot find a second pylon. He is panicking. He's like, alright, he might be coming at me. He might be trying to rush me here with a proxied robo. Might be already in production right now. Right? When in reality, really what ZEST is doing, well, he's making another proxy pylon actually. Huh. Alright. I feel like he is going to go for somewhat of an... Well, actually, he needs to get aggressive with this, right? Still only on 2 gateways. He should build... Okay, there it is. That's the proxy robo. So that's going to go for a Stargate. Still kind of starting up both these structures around the same time. Stats does have a second Nexus, but it's still not that much of an advantage just quite yet. He did not manage to really rise ahead in the worker count that much yet, and the workers haven't been mining for that much time there yet either. That could be something that happens here for a while. Especially if we do have double probe production still going on as well. Guy has a couple now. I think he needs to really be careful here with that production of probes. He needs every unit that he can muster. Okay, 4 Stalkers versus 2 with the shield battery and the overcharge. That should be okay. If he can pull some probes if he has to. There's a Void Ray here now. Okay, good. Void Ray is going to be fantastic against this type of stuff. Oh. Robotics Bay also being constructed. Zest going all out here. Stats now in the know. Just got a good scout off into the main base of Zest here. Sees that there's nothing else going on. No expansion, nothing. Couple of Stalkers here coming to the main base of Stats. 2 probes go down. That is still fine. Nothing that Stats can't handle. Still producing probes after all. Does he think he's up against like a hidden base or something? Not sure what he is expecting anymore. Maybe he just wants to make sure that he does have at least a probe advantage when he does have the 2 base. Ooh, there's an adept. Okay, this could be very nice. The second adept comes in as well. That is lovely. Oh, alright. Well, if 3 more workers, it may not seem like that much, but at this moment in time, that is quite a lot of ZEST. What ZEST has as probes available. Actually, it's only -1 now on the overall efficiency. I guess it's okay. Yeah, it's alright. It's not looking to expand anyway, right? So. Okay. Shield battery number 3. Still only on a single pylon though. Maybe Zest will be able to get on top of that and just shut it down on its entirety. So clearing out the pylon on his side of the map as well. Either trying to make it look vague whether or not he's expanding, or he's actually looking to expand. Okay, pylon is down now. Stats doesn't know anymore what's happening across the fields in the natural base of Zest. Has a lot of void race in his own natural though. Since a single void ray to check for the war prism, and it's a good call. There was a war prism there with the disruptor in there, it seems. Not sure if Zest is looking for a shot on the army or a shot on the probes. I assume probes, since most of the army of stats is, of course, now up in the air. Still a clean shot on top of all those zealots, though. Could still be quite something. Couple of immortals now coming out as well. Perhaps some more targets for the disruptor shots. Oh, there we go. Ah, very nice. Gets 2 shield batteries. We'll have to wait a little bit, of course, before he can go with another shot. Hopefully that will be before the, the next shield batteries will be up again. So if that is the case. Shield battery is already close though. Ooh, immortal. Yeah, nice. Gets a good hit on the immortal right there. That is low now. Stalkers. You'll still have to be careful of the void race. They do 1 hack of a lot of damage. A couple of phoenixes here being built by stats. That's a wonderful idea against all of this. The zealots of stats are melting. But I feel like the stocks are going to start melting pretty soon as well. There's still 4 void rays. Yeah, GG is called. Zest taps on out of there, and Stats ties up the series. So well played to Stats there. Keeps himself in this entire entire best of 5, and doesn't let Zest go too far ahead of him. Might have to grab myself some water pretty soon. I think I'll do that after this game. I'll grab myself some water. That would probably only take like a minute or so. Then hop back on here. We'll continue onwards with Beyond versus, I think it was Creator. Beyond versus Creator, and then I guess we'll see. We'll see if we'll be able to do Armani versus Cure perhaps as well. All right. Alright, oh, it is Pillars of Gold. Pillars of Gold. After the series got tied up, we are going to move ourselves towards the orange nest of golden pillars. It is... it's quite the place. It's quite the place. Quite a nice tropical, deserty vibe. But, yeah. Pillars of Gold. The planets on the loading screen looks kind of green overall, but oh well. Oh well. Guess you guys can see that anyway. In the bottom left side, we got the blue Protoss player fighting for the Africa Freaks, Mr. Stats. On the top right side of the map, there's a Red Protoss player fighting for the Dragon Phoenix Gamer. He is ZEST. Probes miss one another this time around. Ships in the night, as they say. Both players kind of proving so far already that they can take a map off of one another. I think so far the player with the disruptors just hasn't really been the player to win overall. Which is surprising because normally the way I look at whether or not one player is ahead is I look at how many disruptors they have. Guess I'm not sure if actually it's probably less works less well with the Protoss, I suppose, than with the TVT with siege tanks, but pylons blocking here on either side. ZEST a little bit earlier on trying to get rid of this, but we know Stats is you know, it's a little pesky probe here that is willing to throw down cyber cores, and he may do it again. Yeah, there we go. Let's get that down also. I think the Zealot and the probe a little bit on top of it a bit sooner. Stalker's going to get on it as well. May have to be cancelled here. See, the other side has been cleared out. We could start seeing a Nexus pretty soon. As soon as he has the money, of course. Could go for the cancel and then go for the Nexus right now. If he wants to. He's going to let it finish. Okay, no, there it is. There's the Nexus. So again, it's kind of starting around the same ballpark. Interesting to see Stats do this consistently here in this matchup. Twilight Council from Stats, as we have Stargate play from ZEST. Usually people do give the advantage to the Twilight Council play. As long as we get the Blink play, of course, here. We do have Oracles after all. Would be very handy. Oh, Oracle gets spotted by the hallucination. Stalkers already need to get themselves into a position. Where are they expecting the Oracle to come from? Looks like, well, they're pretty close. It's coming from the middle, actually moving further away from where it came from. There it is. There's a shield battery in the main base, so less concerned about those probes here. Just get 3 of them, though. That is still a good amount. Still respectable amounts of damage overall. Especially considering there was a reasonable anti-air force. Only a single Oracle and a shield battery in the main base. See? 2 Oracles, only got 1, so that's kind of bolting down the defenses. May need to tighten them as much as possible, as ZEST is looking to get aggressive here. Another probe has found himself across the map and is looking to throw down a gateway. Stats running along the map as well. Still kind of going for it here. And aware that there will be a perfect way to get counterattacks going straight on top of that newly constructing third base. Guess there's no probes there yet, so that is a good thing. Army for stats, maybe a little bit bulkier, a bit scarier here with those sentries being able to utilize the force fields in particular. 3 more Stalkers now coming in. Will help stats out quite a bit. Guardian shields activated. The third base for ZEST will be taken out. Maybe a recall here wouldn't be too bad of an idea overall, since as ZEST is going to be able to start doing a lot of damage here, perhaps. Okay, the Oracle gets shot out of the sky. Gets 3 probes once again. Third base here. A lot of Stalkers coming up. The reinforcements there from the right, of course. Remember that pylon is, of course, still placed there. Stats does not want to lose his third base now after being able to stop the third base of ZEST. We're looking for the fight, and I don't think ZEST has the numbers right now to make it work. Another round of Stalker warping though. Perhaps that will be the ticket. Stalkers warping in here from stats overall are blocking some of the shooting happening from his Stalkers. There we go. Good force fields. Really good force fields, actually. Keeping him in this fight. Not a Guardian shield wouldn't hurt either, as he is about to have the +1 weapon advantage. We then have the armor from the Guardian shields and, of course, the extra damage there as well. Here we go. Repositioning his Stalkers nicely. Oh, the shield battery gets jumped onto. The Stalker numbers for ZEST absolutely skyrocketing here. Trying to blink to safety where he can. Stats will just barely be able to hold on there. A lot of Stalkers in the orange and the red without shields for ZEST. He needs to be careful. An aggressive blink from stats might be something that can get him a lot of kills from those low HP Stalkers. They are regenning quite rapidly though, so they are marching in forwards. Gets a nice snipe. So ZEST again kind of showing he's the aggressive player. He is the guy that likes to just be with the army. Get as much out of the micro as possible. Getting a couple of snipes there. Not entirely certain if the fight went all in his favor. Looking at the points, it's hard to say that it did. 11 probes though. That is still a lot of probes. He did manage to secure an economic advantage here. So we do see that spiking up right now. The downside overall for his strategy is, of course, that he does not have any type of later attack. And the later attack is available right now for stats here in the way and shape of an immortal. Actually, make that 2 immortals. Warpin Central has been found as well. ZEST no longer will be able to make use of that location. Unless if he does it before the pylon. Yeah, that's now too late. Was only one Stalker, but perhaps didn't have a Warpin available. Something like that. Who knows? It's not the main part at this time anymore anyway. Stats coming in here. Everything is needed at home. Every man, woman and child at the helm. Zealots being warped in, and one shield battery is available. Shield batteries, they don't like Immortals though. Immortals, they still chew through a lot of damage. A lot of firing from those Immortals though onto the Zealots here actually. Quite a lot of firing onto the Zealots, and that is massive right there. I think this would have been a very easy fight here for stats if those Immortals had been fighting the Stalkers all this time, but not the Stalkers deal with the Zealots, but here it really didn't go stats' way. I guess he still killed 15 workers though, to be fair. That is kind of still his way, but that fight, that I feel like that should have been a kill right there. Perhaps. Perhaps I'm wrong, but it did feel like a very powerful moment there for stats. That bonus firepower onto those stalkers, it is a lot. It is really a lot. Dark Shrine coming up for stats as we have a, what was it? What's that? High Templar Archive? It was, yeah, High Templar Archives for ZEST here. Gonna continue onwards with the DT Zealot army for now. Whereas stats, I think, is more so looking towards the Disruptor Blink Stalker type of composition. I mean, as long as the Zealots kind of wrap around your opponent's Stalkers, the Disruptors are going to have a very rough time getting good, clean shots off without killing their, you know, your own Stalkers. So a lot of Stalkers here still for ZEST as well, though. The Archons, they are quite bulky as well. They have difficulty moving around quickly. Alright, talk to you later, Size. You have a good one too, buddy. Bye-bye. Here might be a big fight. Oh no, ZEST once again kind of pulling back. Will he commit? Might not be a bad time actually. Army supply wise, he is on the top. He's the top dog right now. I would have liked it if the Zealots actually came in from 2 angles, but will come in from multiple. Seems like it is helping him out here a little bit. I guess that would have helped out as well if Stats did have Archons. He does not. Doesn't have Disruptors either. No real splash damage at all. The Archons of ZEST are melting the Zealot army of Stats. Now there's just a small amount of Stalkers with about 1 Immortal there as well. The Immortal already going down right now. And yeah, that is looking like it will be a GG coming in here momentarily. Nice pickup with the Immortal saving it from the Disruptor shot. May have been taken out, but even then, I mean, that probably wasn't going to go his way anymore. Alright, good game right there. ZEST increases his lead once again. And will find himself on the match point. Just one more victory and he will be able to move on forwards. Or, you know, he may lose. I mean, he's playing against Stats here after all. May lose the Stats and then have a rough time in that 5th match, right? Then as well, because, you know, always feels bad when you're like, alright, just one more game and I win, one more game and I win, and then you lose the first one, and then you're like, alright, well, it's a shame, kind of chewing away, but it's fine. And at least that's how I am. That's how I get in those situations. Romanticide is the 4th map. Alright, okay. We're loading it up right now. After that, I'm going to quickly grab myself a little bit of water, and then, well, we'll see the Beyond vs. Creator game, if I'm not mistaken, which is also a best of 5. So, you know what? We're in for a good chunk of StarCraft 2. Here we go. Going in. Game number 4. There we are. Yeah, that's the score. Top left side. The blue Protoss player fighting for the Dragon Phoenix Gamers. He is ZEST. Spawning in the bottom right side. He is the red Protoss. He is playing for the Afrika Freaks. He is Stats. He is over here on the shot in the camera right now. Well, it's not him, of course. That is not what he looks like. That would be... Imagine if that was him. Whew. But he is playing with those, you know, things. He's playing with those things. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. See what happens. ZEST only 1 more point required here, of course. Still playing it safe though with his gateways. Not looking to take any unnecessary risks here against potential early on aggression. Stats kind of on the same wavelength. It's both players doing the same build so far. Throttling of the probes. Still going on either side. It's always fun. A battle of the probes. Would like to see Stats actually getting us into a game number 5 here, because, well, you know, overall these two, they do create quite a couple of pretty good PvP situations, I would say. Already, the continuous things with the blocking of the Nexus on both sides, pretty darn cool. Not gonna lie. Second Nexus there, full ZEST will appear first. Stats getting himself another Stalker beforehand. Stats also with a probe there, suspiciously placed. Might be looking for a proxy gateway location. It's a good one, after all. You can warp in on the low ground there and on the high ground. Come in from 2 angles at the same time. If I'm not mistaken. Otherwise you can walk around. Twilight Council coming up for ZEST, and Stats here also joining in on that Twilight Council. Yeah, a little bit surprised to see ZEST, the player that goes for the quicker expanding here. Guess he kind of knows that Stats is the safe player, right? Wants to be the shield of fire. So maybe deciding, you know what, maybe I can get away with a quicker expand, because just of the unlikelihood that my opponent will try something cheesy, and then if he does, I will have another game, and if he doesn't, then, you know, I'll be in a good position. Ooh, good block there for the 2 Adepts. Not allowing them access on the other side of the map. Not as much luck here. Stats finding 2 Adepts on the wrong side of his porch. And they are killing some probes right now. Well, they're having a duel as well with 2 other Adepts first, but looks like they were cleaned up. 4 probes in total. So we have a robo on the way. More Stalkers coming up for either player, and the Blink upgrade starting to be coming online as well. As that attack is accessible, of course, these players, they'll feel a bit more comfortable sending in a couple of Stalkers here and there. Nice around the time when both these players try to get themselves a 3rd base as well. Meaning they'll be more spread out and more opportunities for those Blink Stalkers are created to try and get those walkarounds. So we can already see ZEST here in the bottom, of course, with a good amount of Stalkers coming in. Scout for Stats is going to come up empty as well. The army is right here on top of him. The sentry is quite valuable overall, I'd still say, but it looks like ZEST I'm also interested in sniping off the other Stalkers. I suppose they are the DPS overall. And with the Blink, the full shields, they, you know, you kind of work around them. Guardian shield is still pretty good though. And there's no bracket trees. These are games from other tournaments that I did not manage to cast, so doing them now. Okay. +1 coming up for stats pretty soon as well. As he will now be looking to get some aggression done himself. What is there really available for ZEST? It looks like a good amount of StarCraft is available. The army supply is looking pretty good. With War Prisms involved though, everything becomes a weird guessing game though. Okay, like this. 2 Adepts attempting to murder some probes here. Already getting a couple with the Stalkers as well on the other side. So far, okay, now with the shield battery here, no longer going to be able to do anything. The Stalkers on the other side. We'll be able to get away with most of their numbers. And that's a little nice stab at ZEST, right? It's pretty good. I'd be pretty happy with something like that. ZEST might still retaliate though, and well, I guess there is an Immortal here with the Sentries also, and a War Prism. There's another place really where he wants to go. There's probes dying. I think that's from the other Stalkers. Looks like they also got jumped onto, judging by the mini map. And ZEST here. Yeah, clearly going for the Zealot Archon force once again. Zealot Archon pretty darn strong after all. We didn't really see a lot of Disruptors get a good shot at the Zealot Archon army previously, but that is not an uncommon occurrence that we don't get a good shot against the Zealot Archon army. Really, I feel like you do need a couple of Colossi or Archons of your own in order to really weed out the Zealots as they stack up on top of one another. Okay, third base for ZEST has been up for a little bit longer than that of stats here. Does seem to be giving him quite a nice increase in the overall income flow. Don't poke too much. Stats. Ooh, needs to be careful. Okay, does manage to poke one Stalker down. All the Zealots of stats here using their charge as the Stalkers are still in front of them. Stalkers tanking some damage, now letting the Zealots tank, I suppose. A good overcharge there. War Prism gets taken out though. The Archons over as stats are just too strong. Nothing really there to take it out. Trying to get the War Prism a desperate way to stop anything from being coming worse, but there really was no way to make that better anymore. GG is called. ZEST takes game number 4 as well. Takes the series 3-1.